All right. Welcome to Lincoln Graphing. We're going to look at how to use Google Sheets to make a graph that actually has two sets of data, two different lines on it. And so let's take a look here at what we have. I have graphed what I want to be on the x-axis here, volume in milliliters, and we have 4 data points here. And what we're doing here on this example is we're saying, okay, we're also checking the mass of those pieces if they were aluminum, and we found the masses of those pieces. Separately, we took pieces of plastic that happened to be exactly the same volume, and we found their masses, which are listed here, and they're different masses. So this first example we'll look at if we have the exact same x values, we have 2 different sets of y values, and we're going to make 2 different lines in the same graph. So what I do is I start by grabbing all of the data, including the titles, and then insert a chart. And the first thing it's going to ask us is what type of range we wanted. So I just check, yeah, pick the right range. It'll ask us what kind of chart type we want, and the type we want won't be there. We got to go to Chart Types and pull down. We will almost always be using a scatter. So we find the scatter here. And you'll notice this isn't what we want at all. And that's because it's thinking we would like to switch rows and columns, which we would not like to do. So I'm going to unclick that. We do want to use the first row as headers, so I'm leaving that clicked. Okay. We can see we have our 2 different sets of data here, and it's made them 2 different colors, which is nice to see. So now what we need to do is play with this a little bit. So we're going to go to Customization, and we can change our title. This is all about finding the density from these graphs. So I might say something like finding density from volume and mass. Whatever title you think is appropriate. You need to press Enter or it won't change. See, after I pressed Enter, it finally changed. So don't forget to press Enter. That looks good. The legend is currently on the right. You can play with what it would look like if you put it at the bottom. I'm going to leave it at the right because I know later on it gets a little crowded. So I'm going to go down here, and the horizontal axis looks good. We have the label that has volume and units, so that looks good. On the vertical axis, though, I'd like it to say mass in grams. We always want to make sure we've labeled our axis as well. Press Enter to insert it. And now I'm ready to add some trend lines. So what I'm going to do now is come down and look at series for aluminum. And I like having the blue and the 7-point, the circles. I don't need to change any of that. I'm happy with that. We're not doing error bars this time, but for trend lines, I'm going to go ahead and put a linear trend line. And we can play with the shape of this trend line. We could have the trend line have different features. For example, we could have it be lighter or darker so that you can see the points through it. I like 40%, but I'm going to make it a little thicker. We could also play with the color, have a different shade of blue if we wanted to, whatever you'd like to do with that. More importantly, we're going to change the label to be the equation so we can see the numbers that are associated with this best line fit here. Okay, so that's for the first one. For the second one, we want to do a similar thing. So I'll change the series to go to the plastic, leaving that in red. If the plastic was gray, perhaps we'd want to go look and make it gray. And we could do that since the plastic was gray. If you wanted to color code this, you'd be welcome to do so. In any case, we want to have a linear trend line. And we would like the equation to be on there. And maybe we'd like a different shade of gray for the line. And since that's hard to see, I might go up to 4 just so I can see it a little better. I think that's pretty tough to see, so I'm going to go back to here. In any case, you can play with the colors. You can play with how you like it, however you want. And that's how you get 2 lines on the same graph. So we can insert that and place the graph wherever you'd like it on your lab. It gets a little tricky if you're going to have different x values. You'll notice that this only worked because we had exactly the same volumes in each case here. So if the volume was different, we have a little problem because Google Sheets will always want the x values to be this first column. So we have to do a little trick, and I've already done one. So let me just show you what you do here. So what you do is you put your first set of x values, and then you go ahead and you put your second set of x values. Notice they're not quite the same because the sizes were slightly different. And then you just leave it blank, okay, in these two locations. And we're sort of tricking Google Sheets into plotting both of them, but these x values will only be associated with these y values for the gray plastic, and similarly up here for the aluminum. And that's how you do two lines on the same graph. Hope that was helpful, and come and see me if you have questions. That is all we have today. Thanks.